History tells us that actually Ivory Coast is the traitor of Burkina Faso ever since independence time up until now. Why do I say this? I'm going to try to show you, I will give you a historical analysis by dividing it in three places during independence time, during the first revolution of Burkina Faso time, during Thomas Sankara, and now the second revolution during Ibrahim Traoré, how Ivory Coast is consistently betraying and continues to be a traitor of Burkina Faso's independency. Hello, I am Mahlet, Ayele, your host at Connect Africa, bringing you the latest and a research-based document for you so that you can understand what's happening now. As you all know, I have been digging deep into how Ivory Coast is betraying Burkina Faso since the General Michael Langley, who is the commander of AFRICOM of the United States, he was in Ivory Coast after he makes that ill statement or false statement against Ibrahim Traoré, accusing him as a dictator, and that saying that he's using the natural resource of Burkina Faso for his own personal security or personal interest. So I try to look at history, and here is the thing. Look, during the independence time, which is most of African countries, and the same was true during West Africa, it was 1959/1960. So Ivory Coast has this president called Felix Boigny. He was the first president of Ivory Coast since they got their independence in 1960, and he was in office up until he died at the age of 88 in 1993. So during that time, I don't know, if you have heard. So I'm talking about now the first betrayal of Ivory Coast against Burkina Faso. So around in 1959, there was the establishment of Mali Federation. It's called Mali Federation. So it consists of countries like Mali itself. At that time, it was called Sudan. There is Senegal. There is also Guinea and others. I think there were four countries. And on the other hand, it was the time of where they got their independence from France. So there was this alliance they wanted to form called Mali Federation. The visionary leader for this was at that time the independence leader of Mali, Keita, Madibo Keita, but his last name was Keita. So he was the one who envisioned this. So they were trying to create this Mali Federation. But guess what? France, even if, France was giving these Western African states who used to be the colonies of France in paper their so-called independence, but France did not want these Western African countries to create, a federation, 3 or 4 of them coming together and be strong. They did not want that. So just like what they do, the usual thing, they just take one of us, to kill one of us again. So that's what happens every time. So they got the president of Felix Boigny of Ivory Coast, at that time the president of Ivory Coast, to be, against this creation of Mali Federation. And they took Felix Boigny together with de Gaulle, at that time the president or the leader of France. They strongly opposed the formation of Mali Federation, but it survived for a few months, and then also de Gaulle of France got or managed to get the first independence leader of Senegal, Senghor, to be on his side. So you see that historically, actually, Senegal and Ivory Coast were against the formation of Mali Federation. What does that tell you? The same thing, even now in 2025, the same thing is happening for Senegal, because even now Diomaye Faye and Ousmane Sonko cannot bring Senegal to the Sahel states. They said, no, we will stay with ECOWAS. It is the same thing what their leader did at that time in 1960, whose name was Senghor. Senghor was like, a good errand boy of France at that time. Now, let me come back to my story. So, Felix Bonyi, just like that, betrayed the formation of Mali Federation by uniting with France. I'm going to share with you this research paper, and I'm going to read it for you quickly. I don't want to take so much time. Look, stay with me. Now, in the 1958 referendum on the constitution of the Fifth Republic, General de Gaulle asked the French West African territories whether they wanted continued association with France in the community. If they voted no, this meant immediate independence, which Guinea did it at that time immediately. That's why Guinea is suffering up until now. France did something evil because Guinea voted no immediately. Now, let me continue with this story. There was a widespread sentiment in those territories, meaning in this Western African, who used to be colonies of France, which voted yes, that they want to disassociate themselves with France in favor of some type of federation for the former of AOF, the l'Afrique Occidentale Française. Now, long an advocate of this idea, Léopold Senghor of Senegal presented a constitution for a West African federation to the other AOF leaders in October 1958. Now, Senegal, Dahomey, Upper Volta, that's Burkina Faso, and Sudan all empowered their governments to enter into the proposed federation. Now, Niger, Mauritania, and Ivory Coast said nothing. The four territories which responded to the call for unity sent delegation to meetings of Federalists in Bamako in December 1958, and then in Dakar, at which time the Constituent Assembly met and drafted a constitution. The work was finished and approved without discussion in 3 days. This is now the most important, what I'm going to say now. France and Ivory Coast reacted strongly against this movement and brought pressure to bear on Upper Volta, that is Burkina Faso, now what we call Burkina Faso, and Dahomey. So I will just stop there because that is enough to tell us how at that time Ivory Coast uniting with France, Ivory Coast under the leadership of Felix Bonyi, opposed the formation of Mali Federation. That that could have been like now the Sahel states. This is why you hear the Sahel state leaders whenever they meet, we are just finishing the job what have been started by our ancestors. That's what they say. Now that is number one betrayal of Ivory Coast against Burkina Faso. Now, let me come back to the second part of betrayal of Ivory Coast against Burkina Faso. This is after 2 decades in 1983, when the first revolution happened, led by Thomas Sankara. As you all know, Thomas Sankara was the president of Upper Volta. He changed the name from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. That means the land of the upright men, because Upper Volta was the name given by the colonial power. So he was actually at that time the 5th president of Burkina Faso. That's why it's called the 5th Republic. So he came, that is basically or literally the first revolution of Burkina Faso. When he came, he has his close friend, his name was Blaise Compaoré. So he was the second president or the vice president of Burkina Faso at that time, meaning he was the deputy of Thomas Sankara. Now, Thomas Sankara was killed in 1987. Guess who killed him? Again, it takes one of us to betray one of us, or it takes one of us just to kill another of us, or one of us again. This is, I think, this is the saying of who is that leader? Elijah, who was leading this movement in the United States, right? I think that is a famous quote from him. Anyway, so that's what happened. So France got this vice president, Blaise Compaoré, to turn him against Thomas Sankara, because Thomas Sankara was a revolutionary leader. He was just like Ibrahim Traoré. That's why, many YouTubers, you see that Ibrahim Traoré is called the reincarnation of Thomas Sankara. What he does in terms of, his focus, his emphasis to make Burkina Faso self-sufficient in food, to make Burkina Faso wearing, his own clothes, the product of Burkina Faso. He was a very, very hard line. He was a revolutionary leader, just simply. That's what he does. And when he come to, at that time, also the Organization of African Unity, he does this amazing speech, and he just don't talk, he does it. Economically, he made a miracle to Burkina Faso. Guess what? Again, the West, the colonizers, cannot resist such leaders, and so they saw and they plotted this coup against Thomas Sankara, and eventually to be assassinated by none other than his own brother, Blaise Compaoré, who was the second president, the vice president of Thomas Sankara, who Thomas Sankara believed him. That's why he made him a vice president. But guess what? He fought for France, and, he assassinated Thomas Sankara, and he became a president of Burkina Faso up until 2010 or 2011. For those years, for 3 decades, he was again removed by another coup d'etat, was it? Because the last election, the so-called election, this democratical election, what they call, was said to be, it was a controversial one, and the opposition party basically was expected to win, but he said he won the vote, and he wanted to resume a 4th term in office, but he was removed. And guess what? Where he went? He went to Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast was his shelter when he was, because he has also, ever since he took power, people of Burkina Faso, or the Burkinabes, they know that he's the one who assassinated Thomas Sankara. In fact, he did not even give him, Thomas Sankara, a proper burial place. He did not put a sign on his burial place, because he knows that such places will be for movement. It will create another movement of people. So he did not even want to tell where Thomas Sankara was buried. So when he was removed from power in 2010 or 2011, he fled to Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast welcomed him. At that time, it was Alassane Ouattara. Alassane Ouattara is the same president of Ivory Coast at this time. And guess what? Just to make him free from being prosecuted for murdering Thomas Sankara, and for his controversial election, Alassane Ouattara, of the president of Ivory Coast, gave him a citizenship of Ivory Coast, and Blaise Compaoré became the citizen of Ivory Coast. Now, there's a debate around this, because there are people who say, academicians, politicians, even if he changes his citizenship, when he committed those crimes, he was a Burkinabe, so he will still will not escape from this prosecution, even if he was given an Ivorian citizenship, which is arranged by Alassane Ouattara. And Alassane Ouattara, by this time, there was this president of Burkina Faso, I forgot his name, that came from the opposition, and he was a very Pan-African leader, again removed by France, by the way, the French military that was in Burkina Faso. Now, this president, when he asked Ivory Coast to pass, Blaise Compaoré, and for him to be prosecuted in Burkina Faso, Alassane Ouattara came to on a national television, and he announced it himself. Guess what? We are not a country who's giving our own citizen. So Blaise Compaoré has become Ivorian, and this same policy is actually exactly the same like the French one. Even also the French policy will not allow, even if that French citizen is known to be, he has committed a crime, the French government will not give it to a next country. So he Alassane Ouattara adopted this same exact policy not to give Blaise Compaoré to Burkina Faso. Up until Blaise Compaoré is alive, by the way. And at certain point, even in Ibrahim Traoré's time, he wanted to come to Burkina Faso, but they were arranging these things that he will be in a house arrest because he's still wanted. But I don't know at the end if he came or not. I don't think he came to Burkina Faso. So that is what happened in the first revolution time. Again, you see Ivory Coast meddling, not only meddling, betraying Burkina Faso, being even a traitor, giving a shelter, who murdered this revolutionary leader, Thomas Sankara, and giving him a citizen of, giving him an Ivorian citizenship. That is the second part of betrayal by Ivory Coast against Burkina Faso. Again, fast forward, and let's come to this time, our generation, after 4 decades, after 40 years in Captain Ibrahim Traoré's time. Alassane Ouattara, you still see him as a president there. And what did he do? Alassane Ouattara, let me take you during Niger, when the revolution in Niger happened. Was it in 2023 in July, when the ECOWAS leader met in Nigeria under the leadership of Bola Tinubu, and they said that, behind the sponsors, of course, France and the United States, that they're going to intervene militarily in Niger. It was people like Alassane Ouattara, presidents like Alassane Ouattara, who came in front and said, yes, I will contribute a military for that. This is a very good, ECOWAS was kind of divided, those who are abstain and those who were upfront to say that we will contribute military together with Nigeria under ECOWAS, and we are going to meddle, in Niger's affairs and remove these revolutionary leaders. That was Alassane Ouattara for you. Now, again, in Burkina Faso's affair, we have seen, these are actually as far as what the government of Burkina Faso have told us. There are a number of coup d'etats that have happened and foiled by the government of Burkina Faso that we are not told, but we have been told in this ever since he came to power in September 2022 up until now, April 2025. There are 19 coup d'etats that have been foiled by the government of Burkina Faso under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré. And these coup plotters, mainly, they come from, the National Army of Burkina Faso. And guess where they are headquartering? They are sitting in Abidjan, the capital of Ivory Coast, under the blessing of President Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast. And this is why last time, even yesterday, I let you to listen the speech of Captain Ibrahim Traoré saying that let's call it a spade, and this diplomacy is not working for us. Ivory Coast, we don't have, he said, literally word by word, we don't have a problem with the people of Ivory Coast, because you see that the people of Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso are very much related. Some, on both sides, you see their births relating to, if it's Ivorian to a Burkina Faso, if it's a Burkinabe to Ivory Coast. So he said, we don't have a problem with the people of Ivory Coast, but we have, he said, a problem with the leadership that continues to give a safe haven those who are plotting a coup d'etat against Burkina Faso, against our nation. That's what he said, and he has all reasons. And even from my own research, I told you divided by 3 times in history, how Ivory Coast continues to be the betrayer of Burkina Faso, the traitor of Burkina Faso during independence time, during the first revolution time, during Thomas Sankara, and now under Captain Ibrahim Traoré. recently on April 16, there was a coup d'etat that was planned against Ibrahim Traoré. And after 5 days, when everything is under control, the government of Burkina Faso made it public. And in a sentence, I can even go and read it to you. Go Faso7.com. You see, that is a government media, and you will see every release, statement by the government of Burkina Faso. Don't go any YouTube or anything. You will find that statement there. So it says that that release of statement by the Burkinabe government says that Burkina Faso, in spite of all the attempts that we have made to bring all these coup plotters who are finding a shelter in Ivory Coast continues to refuse to pass, to give those criminals to Burkina Faso. And they told the public that Ivory Coast is, collaborating, if you wish, collaborating with these coup plotters to throw away the government of Burkina Faso, not only collaborating with these armies, but also collaborating with France. Where did we see now General Michael Langley, who is the African commander of the United States, after making that ill statement, that false statement against Burkina Faso, against Ibrahim Traoré, calling him a dictator? Where did he go? He go to Ivory Coast. He was exactly a year ago also in Ivory Coast. In January, Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast, he came to, on a national television and told us, he's going to kick away the French military because he saw that they are just testing the water, because they see, those who did not, the Western African countries that did not join the Sahel states, their people are talking, their people are moving, they are saying, they are waking up. Why you are not, why you are not joining the Sahel states? Why you are not leading your, your nation just like the Sahel states? Why you are not getting in control of your natural resource? So just to give us as a camouflage, as a pretext, he came on a national television and says, we are asking the French military to leave our country. Even if those French, first of all, they did not leave. Secondly, even if they leave, there is also the US military base there in Ivory Coast. So Ivory Coast, also Benin, those are the countries that are trying to, to dismantle and to sabotage this revolution that's happening in the Sahel states. So Ivory Coast, we are watching you. We are digging into your history, a dark history that you continue historically to betray Burkina Faso from independence time up until now for the past 65 years. This is not also against Burkina Faso, but in terms of generally the Pan-Africanism, this creation of unity, everything, it was opposed by the first president of Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Felix Bonyi, and then Alassane Ouattara. There was not so much president. Felix Bonyi was there from independence up until 1993, and then I think was it Alassane Ouattara who took power? No, there was another one. There was a Pan-African one, and that was removed by the French. He was dragged from his house literally by the French military, who was residing in, who have base in Ivory Coast. Anyway, the gist of this story is that Ivory Coast is the traitor of Burkina Faso. It continues to do so. It's not out of nothing. I am saying this. I have showed you by dividing it through time, historically, during independence time, and that is during the creation of Mali Federation, how Ivory Coast became against it by uniting with France. And then the first revolution time of Burkina Faso in 1983, how the vice president of Burkina Faso, sponsored by France, killed first did a coup d'etat and then assassinated Thomas Sankara. Now in 2025, during Ibrahim Traoré's second revolution time of Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast continues to give a safe haven to these coup plotters, and it's continuing doing so also by uniting not only with France, also with the United States, Africa. That was it for now. I did not plan to stay 25 minutes, but I'm sorry. But yeah, let us know in the comment section, what do you think of this? That was it, a bit of my research. You go and do your research as well. There's a lot, so yeah, thank you again. I will give a quick shout out: Elias London, Multip, Critical Thinker. All of you, really, thank you very much. It's you guys. I read each and everyone's comment, and this is what makes me to come and do my research and inform you. In this time, we cannot allow that in this digital world. We cannot say that we are not informed. We are informed, and we cannot allow to happen what happened to Thomas Sankara again to happen to Ibrahim Traoré. I mean, I will be ashamed to tell my children there was this leader in West Africa called Ibrahim Traoré, and this country have assassinated him. Just like while we are folding our hands and sitting doing nothing, trust me, regardless of where we are, we all can do something. In the meantime, I invite you to join if there's any march that's happening on 30th of April to show support to Captain Ibrahim Traoré wherever you are. Thanks very much again. That was it for now. Please continue to support us by sharing the video, share the knowledge, share the information with others. And also you can support us through our PayPal account. You can find it in the description section, and also buy me a coffee link again in the description section. Those of you who are supporting us, thank you very much again. You know who you are. So yeah, P Mystery. Okay, hello. Bye bye.